story, bruh. What do you want to know? I spent all my life incarcerated, basically. For those of y'all that don't know, I'm 40 years old, and I spent over 27 and a half years of my life incarcerated. I started doing time. I'm Vietnamese. I started doing time when I was 10 years old. The first time I ever got locked up was for a Grand Theft Auto. I was joyriding with two of my homeboys, and I ran away from home, so I was on the run. And one of the things, like the main things I used to do back then when I was young, I used to steal cars and break into cars. I used to work for a chop shop. My gang ran a chop shop, so my older homies used to like give us a list of cars that he wanted, and say, for instance, he'll give us a list, and the list will say like a Toyota Camry. He'll pay you $500 for it. An Acura Integra, $1,000, and it's just a list. And if you see those cars and you're looking for the ones with the most money on it, then you go steal them. So basically that night, me and all my homeboys, we went to go steal cars for the chop shop. And we were in another part of San Diego. We were up in Mira Mesa at that time. And we were breaking into cars in like some condominiums. And some people came out, so we took off. And it was real late. It was like 2, 3 in the morning. We took off, and I was in the back seat. My homeboy Batman was driving. I had a homie named Frosty that was in the passenger seat. And I was 10. The driver was like 14 or 15. And my homeboy riding shotgun, he was probably about 13 or 14. And I had fell asleep in the back seat. I was knocked out. You know, when you're a kid, you sleep. Like, you sleep real good. So I was sleeping like a 10-year-old kid would, right? And my homeboy Frosty woke me up. He woke me up, and I woke up like, what? And he was like, look behind us. Tell me what you see. So I sat up from the back seat, and I looked behind us, and all I saw was a gang of cop cars and sirens and lights. And that's when it finally hit me. Like, oh, we're getting chased. You know what I mean? And then I'm talking about like, there was like 20 cop cars behind us. And my homeboy Batman was just going on the freeway. It's like 2, 3 in the morning, so there wasn't that many cars on the freeway. So my homeboy was pedal to the metal, just gunning it. He was flooring it. We were on the freeway, just flying. And we had like a big lead on the police, but at every exit that we were passing, there was a gang of police just lined up in the exit, like backed up, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars. And right when we passed them, they were pulling into the freeway and pursue us. And we passed another exit, more cops would come in. Another exit, more cops. So we were just like getting chased like we done, I don't know, try to assassinate the president or something. We were just in a stolen car. So anyways, my homeboy exited into my neighborhood. It's an exit called Genesee Ave. He exited the exit going like about 60. And the exit goes like that, right? So he exited going like 60. Then he tried to bust a right at the end of the exit and lost control of the car, and the car started spinning. Boom, boom, boom. It spun out going down the street. Then there was like a center island, not a divider, but an island. The car went up on that and boom, came to a stop, right? And my homeboy Batman, he's like, run. So he jumped out the car and ran. My homeboy Frosty jumped out the car and ran. And I tried to open the door. I was in the back seat. I tried to open the door, but the door wouldn't open. I didn't know then, but I know now that they had child safety locks on the door, right? So as I'm trying to open the door and it's not opening, I'm like, what the hell's going on? I'm in the car tripping, right? All the police, they get out their cars, they jump out the car, and they start chasing my homeboy Batman and Frosty, and they don't even see me in the car. They just run past the car. But I was so like in a panic. I was like, I can't get out this car. And then finally I just stopped. I was like, what do I do? And then I looked in front of me and I realized the driver door and the passenger door was wide open. So I was like, just jump over to the front, jump out the car, fool, right? So I climbed over to the front. I jumped out the car. And when I jumped out the car, in front of me was a gang of police with their backs to me chasing my homeboys. And I didn't know where to run, so I started running behind them. I was chasing the police. My homeboys were running, the police was chasing my homeboys, and I was running behind the police, chasing the police. And then it dawned on me. I was like, run the other way, fool. Get away from the police, right? So I turned around and I ran and I went to go hit a fence, and someone saw me hit the fence, and they called the police and said, hey, he's hiding over here. One of them's hiding over here. So they came to the yard, and I seen them like flashing their lights in the yard. They're about to come in. So I jumped up and I ran again. I ran out the yard, and the police chased me. And I was just a 10-year-old kid. So I mean, pretty sure some of y'all got 10-year-old kids and y'all could just chase them down, right? So I was trying to run and they chased me down, tackled me. And then out of my 2 homeboys, the statute of limitations is up, so I can't get them in trouble. But Batman got away and my homeboy Frosty got caught too. So they threw me in a police car. Then they threw my homeboy Frosty in the police car. And they took us down to juvenile halls. And I got arrested. That was the first time I ever got locked up. I was 10 years old. And as a gang member, like, this might sound crazy to some of y'all who aren't gang members or who have no like association with the gang life, but as a gang member, it's considered like a badge of honor or like a stripe to get locked up in due time. And the reason why is that is because when you're locked up, you have potential to become a victim. You know what I'm saying? You could get raped, you could get beat up, and you're going to be running into your enemies from your enemy gang there, and you're going to be for sure fighting. And if you can survive all that and not be a punk and not punk out or whatever and come back, that's considered like a stripe, a badge of honor, right? So I already knew as a gang member that sooner or later I was going to get locked up. There wasn't no like going around it, but I honestly didn't think that I would get locked up that soon, you know, at that young of an age. And I remember I was so young when they gave me my clothes, like the juvenile hall clothes. The clothes didn't even fit me. It was like hanging off my body. I had to like hold my pants up, and the shirt was too big for me. And the juvenile hall staff that had to escort me to my unit, he was like, man, bro, you're so young. Like, what are you doing in here? You know what I mean? And he was just tripping out. He was like, you're just a little kid. But what he saw was a little kid. But in my heart and in my mind, I already felt like a grown adult. I already felt like a grown man because I already been through a gang of grown stuff. You know what I mean? I was forced out of my childhood. I was involved in gang wars. But yeah. And I remember, right, when they took me to juvenile halls, like, I went to Unit 1200 in San Diego Juvenile Halls. That's my first time I ever got locked up. There's 3 hallways in the unit. There's A hallway, B hallway, and C hallway. And basically the unit is kind of like this. It's like these 3 fingers is a hall. Each of these 3 fingers is a hallway. And then my fist is like the control center in the day room. You know what I'm saying? So when I walked in, they put me in the first cell in A hallway. And I remember they opened the door, steel door, blue steel door, right? They opened it and said, step in. I stepped in the cell. There was nobody in there. It was a single man cell. I remember I stepped in the cell, I had my bedroll. I had 2 sheets and a blanket. And I was hugging it, right? And I remember I stepped in the cell and they closed the door behind me and it was hella loud. Boom! And then I remember standing in the cell and I had my blanket and my sheet hugged to my chest, right? And I remember looking around me and I felt like the air got sucked out of the room and I started feeling like kind of like claustrophobic. Like I felt trapped. I was like in a cell that I couldn't get out of, right? And I just like looked at the mattress that they had in there. And I remember I just laid down on the top of the mattress and I put my face in my blanket and my sheet and I started crying. I ain't gonna lie, I was a kid. I started crying not because I was scared or anything like that, but more because I've never felt anything like that before. I never felt locked up. I never felt trapped. You know what I mean? And it was a weird feeling. It's inhumane, especially for a kid to feel that. I remember I just cried for a little bit, and then I remember telling myself, like, suck it up, dude. Like, you gotta man up. You know what I mean? You're on some big boy stuff now. And I just got up, wiped my tears, and I said, let's do this. Let's go. This is the life you chose, you know? And then I ended up going to court, whatever, and they put me on probation. So I was in juvenile halls like for about a month. Fought one enemy, went to court, got put on probation, and after they put me on probation, I just ran back to the streets.